Hi everybody, this is MXUX. I just want to go over Lordstown week here. I have some notes on the presentation. I'm sure you've seen a lot of video. There's a lot of good video on this. Just some commentary. Hopefully this won't take very long at all. Just the first note I have here is Ford is under every rock you turn over. I don't know if you learned this, but Oshkosh got the postal contract. Now they just made an announcement that the EV portion of that contract, they're going to get the parts, the motors and the batteries from Ford, who really doesn't even have that capability. So this is what Workhorse lost. And again, Ford comes in and Workhorse and Lordstown Motors are out. The $1 valuation from Wolf, I covered this in another video. The CEO of Ford spoke to them, like a day before they gave that video. He did a private presentation at a meeting they had or whatever, a party. It was public, but it was publicized, but it was private. Anyway, Ford's the main investor in Rivian as well, and they got $700 million invested in Rivian. They do not want the Endurance to launch first. Okay? So, and, as far as Jim Cramer goes, and other news too, Ford spends $2 billion a year on advertising. They are kowtowing. They are back and they do not want the Endurance to launch. You got to remember this. Most of the stuff you see on YouTube about, and I have an example of this I'm going to close this out with, is about Lordstown Motors is wrong. Anyway, I just wanted to go over this real quick too. I have an acquaintance who is was a Silicon Valley insider who told me he used to have a few drinks with Elon Musk. Anyway, allegedly, he told me that he got the word that Elon did, that he was not to challenge the major auto manufacturers and they'd leave him alone. Okay? And this was kind of in the media directly. Okay? So I think this is the real basis of the Tesla no advertising model. Okay? They didn't really challenge anybody until they did the truck pull off with the F-150 and the Cybertruck. Okay, what happened next? You guys can research that. I'm sure Tesla stock went down or whatever. But when Tesla says they don't advertise, they have affiliate links on YouTube. Stealth marketing. That's why we have all these zealots. Army of zealots. In the beginning they had links, they had referral links, they were giving away the sports model, the Sportster, and they still have affiliate links for charging. Very generous affiliate program, sponsoring the YouTube videos. So Elon was smart there. He stayed out of traditional marketing and he built an army of influencers. And when he says he doesn't advertise, he does, or he did. He put together an army of guys with these referral codes, and you can all go through this and see what I'm talking about. Now here's the difference between Tesla and Lordstown Motors. LMC challenged the F-150 from day one. They had a chart. This is the F-150, and this is how much the Endurance will save you. So this is probably again, Ford is the real enemy here as far as Lordstown goes in the media. Now, let's just go over the live cast. Now, I'm sure that, the original live cast went out, the sound was terrible. That's because there was too many people trying to watch it and there wasn't enough bandwidth. Obviously, where they were in Ohio, there wasn't enough bandwidth, or who knows, maybe there's a ghost in the machine somewhere that didn't want it to sound good. No, I'm getting paranoid. Anyway, the point is, the replay on it if you've got a bad go around the first time, the replay on it is perfect. So anyway, I just want to go over this real quick. It was rough around the edges, you know. They had handwritten signs and little inkjet printouts. It was authentic, okay? They had nothing to hide. They hid nothing. There was no slick camera work. There was no lighting angles. There was no, handsome, no professional presenters. There was none of that, okay? No music, nothing. And there was no flash. And there were people saying, I saw one comment guy said, this was the shoddiest thing ever, and, they didn't have it set up right. Well, you know what? Funding is limited, and if they had spent a lot of money setting this up, everybody would have said, why are you spending money? Your funds are limited. So I think it was the appropriate way to do it. So anyway, not only a great factory, you can see the video yourself, same staff that ran it before. So they're hitting the ground running. When Elon Musk says, prototypes are hard, building a production car is, prototypes are easy, building a production car is hard, he didn't go to Lordstown. They already had they had the plant, they have the staff, they have the parts catalog, they have the truck, they have the whole thing there. I mean, it's not hard for Lordstown. They did it in 10 months. But the cool thing was, you're talking to people that ran the stamping plant for 29 years. They, as far as the staffing goes, the key personnel there, they're production ready. So they got the stamping is done. The paint is done. And they got a German paint shop there, one of the best. And the robots and the dipping tanks and the whole thing. Assembly is done. Their assembly line, it's all basically set up. Battery assembly is 50% complete, but it's up and running. They're waiting for machinery to be shipped in to be installed to complete the battery. That's going to be, according to Burns before, it's going to be all robotic. It's not going to have very many people in it at all. But it's 50% complete. They said they're going to have it all done by July, I think. Hub motor assembly, again, now Elafi, what they do is they have this 1500 motor, which is state-of-the-art hub motor. It's not the cheapest motor, what Hindenburg said. This is state-of-the-art, highest RPM, highest torque hub motor there is. Elafi has certified it for OEM manufacturing, and what they do is they take each case, each manufacturer's case, and they tweak the parameters of that motor design so it's manufacturability and to meet the need of the client. So it's not really a one-size-fits-all. I wouldn't call it a bespoke suit. It's not Savile Row, but they're altering it. But anyway, that's done. Those automated machines are on their way. They're being shipped from Malaysia. They said they're being built in Malaysia for whatever reason. So that's done. So they got stamping, paint, assembly, battery 50%, hub motor. They said they're going to have it up by July, I believe, but in time for production. Okay, the electronic wheel control. The comments during the presentation and so forth was it was being tweaked. And it's obviously running, there's torque vectoring, there's all kind of that's the cool thing about these wheel motors and the wheel motors being at the wheel. You can dial them in to do many surprising things, and more so than Rivian, a much better system than Rivian, a much better system than Tesla, much more control, much more fine control. Again, just as by way of review of the hub motors, the truck can run with one hub motor working, okay? 3 of them can fill, it can run with one. You can remove a hub motor with normal hand tools in 5 minutes, okay? They were talking about the speed being governed to 80 miles an hour on the presentation. I have inside information that they had the endurance prototypes running on a closed racetrack at 130 miles an hour. And this is the highest performance hub motor ever built, by the way. And now, just talking in general about the endurance, and I think I mentioned this later, but I'll mention it now. Let's say you buy an endurance. Let's say a new hub motor design comes out. Upgrade, more powerful, more responsive, whatever. Guess what? You can pull your existing hub motors off and replace all your hub motors and upgrade the motors. What if a new battery technology comes out that's 50% lighter and has 50% more range? Okay, guess what? The Endurance battery pack is removable and replaceable. So this is an upgradable truck. Okay, and I think this is going to be a big plus for consumers and for fleets. This is controlled against obsolescence. When there's upgrades to be made, it can be upgraded. I think that's cool. You can't do that with the Cybertruck. You can't do that with the Rivian. I'm not aware of any other vehicle you can do that with, electric vehicle, other than the Endurance. I think that's a major selling point. There was a lot of talk about the unsprung weight when this was being built and everything. Guess what? They said, oh, no big deal. We engineered it out. It's nothing. It's not an issue. Okay, they did their major crash testing. There's videos on the website on this. The front and side, they passed it. They're going to get a 5-star rating, they feel. Their simulation, which is their computer simulation of the rest of the crash tests, have all done 5-star. Okay, so I think they said a 3-star rating. I'm not sure what I got this. Anyway, the point is, he said more than a 3-star rating, but they're expecting a 5-star safety rating like Tesla. It's going to be the safest EV pickup truck, the only one. Okay, the battery pack design and the controller cooling and the wire harness, that's all done. Okay, the body design, also done. They're going to tweak a couple things for the users, and I think this might be why they're waiting to finish the infotainment system and tweak the hub motor control system, because you can control the torque at the wheels, you can govern the speed, you can do torque vectoring. They're waiting for feedback from the people using the beta trucks, I believe, to torque these systems. That's my opinion. Okay, and the body's done. So basically, this whole truck is ready to go, except for one, feedback from the beta users, and two, the battery assembly, which is up and running, which they can actually use at the moment. But to get the 100% capacity with batteries, they're waiting for the machinery to be installed. And the hub motor assembly line is all waiting to come in. And by the way, the assembly of these hub motors, again, 2 moving parts, very simple. This is not a complex manufacturing process. You can look on the Alafi website. It's not like the big thing Tesla has with the reduction gearing and all that business, and it's nothing like that. I have other videos on hub motors. You can take a look at them. I'm going to redo all my playlists for Lordstown Motors. I have a ton of information that I've already done. If you look up, just search MXUX Lordstown Motors or RIDE Stock, and all my videos will come up. You can see full videos just on the hub motors explaining how they work. All right, yeah, the entertainment system and the telematics are being tweaked. Again, I think they're waiting for feedback from the customers. Okay, the production line is 90% complete and ready with the staff, ready to run, except for the hub motor and battery pack that we already talked about. So this whole operation is 90 to 95% complete. Okay? And this is in 10 months. And this is with experienced staff on board. The paint shop, the whole deal. So there's just minor tweaking to go. So anybody that doesn't think they're going to get the manufacturing, I think they're sadly mistaken. And everybody keeps repeating this bromide from Musk. Prototypes are easy, production is hard. Well, I don't know. Elon Musk was trying to do it his way. They said it was too automated. By the way, the guy that's the president of Lordstown Motors set up the Fremont plant and went, I'm pretty sure he went through that basic problem with the S and the X in Fremont. Schmidt And he's the one that set up Lordstown. So it wasn't hard for him to set up a manufacturing plant. You know, I think Elon Musk's ideas were wrong. But anyway, don't forget that. Anyway, this thing's ready to go. And they showed it, and you can say that, but you can go watch the video. You can see, you know, the parts being stamped and so forth. So anyway, I have down here everything but the money to make it happen. I believe this is where they're at. And actually, they have the money to start production. And I think once they manufacture and deliver one vehicle, the floodgates are going to open, okay? And I just gone some basic things they can do here. That, you know, they can issue more stock. There's not that much stock outstanding. I mean, there is, but there's room for that. And I don't think the present shareholders would mind if it came down to issuing stock. I wouldn't, to raise more capital. You know, they can sell convertible bonds backed by that convert to stock, or they can sell bonds backed by the assets. They got a ton of assets there, ton. So they can sell bonds, and the bondholders have a preference, and everybody keeps saying bankruptcy, but they can't. They can liquidate. Bankruptcy is for consolidating debts. They have no debt on the balance sheet, so they actually could go to an investment bank and borrow money too, or whatever, through banking, the more conventional banking methods. They did a SPAC. They're already public, but who's to say a venture capital firm doesn't want to come in, dip their toe in the water? Might be a new paradigm, okay? It's a possibility as well. I also an international partner, you know what I mean? Have whatever, who knows? Chinese firm, BYD, sovereign wealth fund, so on. A U.S. partner, GM, of course. They already have $75 million in. Again, they can borrow against assets. They can get a sovereign wealth fund involved, like Lucid did with the Saudis. And this last one here, and this is what should happen. But, Workhorse getting the USPS contract should have happened too. This advanced vehicle manufacturing loan, they should get it, okay? And this is when they should get it, and this is what this loan is for. But here's Ford again. What did we have Biden do? Driving the new Lightning. Did he come out and drive the Lordstown Endurance? No. He was in Cleveland. He came to Cleveland too. Did he even go to Lordstown? No. And the last time this loan was let out again, Ford, and I want to make a point here. Ford got $2.5 billion for advanced manufacturing. It was supposed to be an emphasis. They used it for their advanced motors, but it was for electric vehicles as well. And I just want to remind everybody, Ford got $2.5 billion with this program in 2008 for advanced manufacturing, which included, and he was up against Tesla and other companies that were making electric vehicles. They made their first vehicle, their Mustang. Okay, and guess where it's made? Mexico. Okay. $2.5 billion of U.S. taxpayers' money went to Ford to develop advanced manufacturing. What did Ford do? They did the manufacturing in Mexico. Think about that when you file your taxes next time, or when you get your refund this year, and think about Ford taking all that money and then turning them around and creating the jobs in Mexico and moving the new technology. And, these innovations come from manufacturing. And if it's not in America, the innovations aren't here anyway. Let's just go over this. The new investor, the new person coming in, or whoever's going to fund this with the $500 million or whatever, it always seems to be $500 million these auto companies need. There's a lot of advantages. You know what? There's no changing of the guard. The CFO and the CEO are gone. They can have a lot of input. on who the new CEO or CFO is. They could retain the people that are in there now. I think this is unheard of when you bring in, usually when you're bringing in investment money or whatever, they're demanding the CEO resign and all this. This is all done. They just got to do the appointments. So, and it's going to be good press too, because there's not going to be any negativity there. The negativity already has been through it's already been baked in. Okay, this is 95% complete. Anybody that says, they'll never make a truck, blah, blah, they don't know what they're talking about, okay? I mean, you saw it for yourself. The only way if a nuclear bomb drops on the factory, maybe they won't get, or a tornado hits, or some natural disaster. Okay, God forbid if we have another COVID thing come up. But there's no way that they're not going to start. I personally feel that they're not going to start this. Okay, now, what was said early on, and I think what Steve Schmidt, who is the president, who worked for Tesla, reiterated, and they shut him up quick, and they did a retraction, and they didn't let him speak during Lordstown week. I believe they have 30K in solid oil orders, okay? I think that's a rough estimate of the first 2 years of production. If you go by other metrics, the first 2 years of production could be 60K units, okay? And that would be this year, next year. And they certainly have the capacity to do that. They supposedly had 100K in orders. And, if you lose 40%, that's 60K. If you lose 70% of that orders, that's 30K. But as Steve Schmidt said, these companies have re-upped. You got to understand, these companies are facing massive savings using EVs for these pickup roles. Massive. And they got these tax credits looming that are massive, okay? There isn't anything for them to buy. They aren't going to wait around. They aren't going to lose money for a year waiting for the Ford F-150 Lightning to come out until they build the fleet model on their limited production line. They're going to all their orders at Lordstown at Ford right now are for the top of the line $100,000 EV pickups. And you think they're going to sacrifice that on their limited production capacity to do the fleet? So if these fleet guys want to get in on this and they want to get the savings that they're going to get, 75 mile a gallon equivalent, take the motor out of the truck with hand tools in 5 minutes. These are things that are only going to get with the Endurance. I can't believe they are not going to be able to sell these trucks, especially when there is no alternative. And the Rivian is not an alternative. The Rivian is a luxury. It's got a 4-foot bed. It is not practical. It's $20,000 more in the base model. Forget it. So I think it's just a matter of how many orders they have rather than if they have any orders, okay? So I think they're definitely going to start production unless there's some major, you never know. Black swan could happen. But they are set at this point, I would say, in my opinion, based on the research I've done, they're set up to go to production in September. And they have between 30K and 60K firm orders for production, okay? All right? And they say that they have enough money right now in their coffers to fund production till next year, I believe, or to do this first run of production. You guys are going to have to look that up on your own because that's an ever-changing number, and I don't want to be sure on that. But they do have enough money to start production and to continue production, so they can make sales. And like I say, I think as soon as they make a sale and this truck gets out on the market, it's going to be all over. Okay, GM is already in for $75 million, okay? And they get to buy the carbon credits off of Lordstown, which is another main source of income for Lordstown. Tesla runs their whole company on the carbon credits. But GM gets to buy their carbon credits for their, against their ICE motors, and they get them at a 33% down discount against. So if they're buying, carbon credits right now off a Tesla for $100 a credit. They're going to get them from Lordstown at $67 a credit. So it makes sense just on that basis. That saves GM right there 33% on their carbon credit costs. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense for GM to see this work. And Nikola, everybody keeps trying to paint this with Nikola. I believe they're trying to, because they don't want, GM doesn't want to get a shareholder lawsuit. So they keep trying to paint it as Nikola. It's definitely not Nikola. You can see by all this. But I think they're trying to dissuade GM. And by the way, Nikola has had his problems. I personally think there is a place for long-haul trucking with fuel cells. It's not, the technology isn't quite there yet for the hydrogen. Sandy Monroe just did a piece on his show about solid-state hydrogen that this company has developed, which is now operational. It's on a disc. Okay, it's not a gas, it's on a disc, which is put into like a CD player, and a laser hits it and it generates hydrogen. This is one thing that Nikola can use to power their long-haul trucks. But there is a place. I mean, I'm not going to defend Nikola, but there is a place. I think more so in long-haul trucking than passenger cars for this technology. And I said this solid-state hydrogen fuel is the key. So anyway, just trying to wrap this up here. The Endurance unique selling points. Okay, battery swapped and upgraded. Hub motors swapped and upgraded. Now here's another one. The CEO, I did this in my last video. The present acting CEO is on the board of directors of Nuvi, which is a company that produces vehicle-to-grid hardware and software, which allows you to charge the battery in your vehicle and then sell the electricity back to the utility, or store excess power from the utility in your battery and then dispense it to the grid when it needs it. They say that you can generate $2,000 a year income based on this, depending on the battery and so forth. And it does minor battery degradation. I think that ends up taking 2% of the battery total capacity over the 10 years or whatever. Now here's the thing. The acting CEO is on the board of Nuvi. It's been said in a presentation I've watched by Lordstown that it is capable of adding this. Now you're going to have to check that out with your own due diligence. But there's some special hardware that's needed in the vehicle to do the vehicle to grid AC/DC converter. I forget inverter. I'm sorry, I don't know the thing. Anyway, the point is, the reason Tesla doesn't do this, because their present battery chemistry does not support this. They can do it, but they'll get so much degradation with their battery that they can't do it. So this is another unique selling point. Okay. Again, the Endurance, the only electric vehicle pickup, EV pickup with a solid rear axle for towing and hauling. I don't care what Rivian says. I don't care what Tesla says. I don't care what Ford says. You can't haul a trailer with independent rear suspension. I mean, this is what Sandy Monroe was shaking his head. He goes, I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know. I'm telling you, it's a big plus. So this is a perfect truck for fleets and consumers. And, we're talking about the fleet market. You got to remember, this is set up to be a consumer truck too. And I've done a video with a configurator of how they could do a sports model of this truck that would have the Ford magnetic, the GM magnetic suspension. It would have their autopilot software. and it would have the governor taking off the wheel motors. This thing would have torque vectoring, 600 horsepower, top speed of 130 miles an hour, you know, hands-free auto driving on the highway. This is a great consumer truck too. And I priced that out after all these options to be less than the equivalent Cybertruck. You can see that the Endurance Configurator, MXUX video. Anyway, they've upped the price to $55K, which I think is smart because of the credits coming in and everything, and you know, the same thing Tesla did. So right now, it's the only true four-wheel drive EV pickup. It's also the cheapest four-wheel drive EV pickup. Ford is not four-wheel drive. It's got two motors in it, okay? It's not true four-wheel drive. The Tesla, also not true four-wheel drive. It's got two motors in it. You know, some of them have three motors in it, but they don't have a motor on each wheel. They don't have a drive on each wheel. This is true independent four-wheel drive. So anyway, there's a lot going for this truck. I really like the design. I really like the way it looked. I really like the way the interior looked. It was basically finished. There were some squeaks and things, but you know, that's nothing. That's a prototype. I mean, a beta truck. They're going to solve all that. And you know, they had it full of people. It was running great. You can look at that video yourself. And just in summation here, Lordstown, here's the thing. This manufacturing loan that I don't believe that I'm going to say I don't think they're going to get it just because of the way it worked out last time with Ford. Let's see if our government can work. Let's see if Tim Ryan, the congressman from that area, and so forth, can get something done for this company and get that loan put through for Lordstown. And they've already passed a lot of the hurdles to get it. But anyway, we're going to have a situation here where the Chinese are very good at they are getting very good at manufacturing electric vehicles, and they have the infrastructure there and everything else. If we want to dominate as a country, as an economy, this new market, we have to have these startups. They have to be allowed to grow and to start. I mean, these hub motors are an important technology. It's a key. This is the new. I mean, I think everything's going to have hub motors on it eventually. Maybe not these hub motors, but ones like it, because it's just too good of an idea. So no one else in North America is doing them or can do them. They have the rights to do them. It's a key technology. You need to get this into production, because when you're doing production, you have all these incremental improvements that take place that can only happen when you're building the vehicle. And you can see this in Tesla, how they moved to the castings, how they changed the way they do the batteries. This all comes from the experience of manufacturing. You can design it on a drawing board and get it up and running, but you can only get these improvements, incremental improvements, by manufacturing. So it's very important that this company survive. And I think you know, the media is certainly doing a lot of harm, and it's an own goal here. I mean, in soccer terms, this is a company that should prosper and survive and should get government help. But anyway, I do not, personally, in my opinion, I do not see how they cannot hit production. Okay, this is a high-risk investment. This is a startup. This is pre-revenue, pre-sales startup. This is risk on. Everybody should know that's investing in this. This could go anyway. As you can see, the drama that it's had already. Anything could happen. Good things could happen, bad things could happen. Just realize that if you're investing in this company, be aware that it could result in catastrophic losses. Or, you know, it possibly could go the other way too. Anyway, thanks for watching. I got a short clip at the end. Okay, I just want to play a second of this. This is Meet Kevin. who I don't think is a terrible person, although he hasn't had really nice things to say about Lordstown Motors. But this is him, I think, doing an audition on, this is Jim Cramer's The Street channel. This is Coffee with Catherine. That's his money bunny, you know, the blonde girl that interviews him every day. And he is on there and he is talking about, you know, how exciting it is to do investing. If you follow him at all, I watch him occasionally. He was talking about getting a job offer from MSNBC. Again, I think this is his audition tape here. But anyway, the point is, I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying that it just is my opinion. IMO. Anyway, this video was released, okay, I don't know when it was recorded, but it was released on June 25th, which was the same day of the live broadcast of Lordstown Week. And again, Jim Cramer's channel, The Street, MSNBC, Coffee with Catherine, June 25th, the day of Lordstown Week. And I'm just going to try to play a second of this. Let's see if I can get this.
Can be there with the audience as movements are happening in stocks. For example, yesterday, Lordstown Motors was suspended, and
okay, that's all I'm going to play. So that was the comment of his. Again, I don't know when that was recorded, but that was, and I don't know how many millions of viewers he has. He's one of the most popular YouTubers, financial YouTubers. And that was the comment of his. Again, I don't know when that was recorded, but that's when that was released. The same day as Lordstown Week. Go figure. Hi, this is MXUX. I hope you liked the video. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting things happening with Lordstown. I just want to remind everybody this is a risk-on investment. It's pre-revenue startup SPAC. So check out, I'm going to be making some other videos on some other topics in the EV market, as well as more videos on Lordstown. But lately I've been doing a lot of Lordstown. I do other things. You can check out my videos. Just search for MXUX on YouTube. And thanks, guys. And I hope you liked the video.